Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast. Today, we have part two with the captain and the pop culture expert. We got the captain, Byron, and the pop culture expert of the L7C, Chelsea Hepper, doing part two of their joint collaboration podcast series. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
I just had dinner, so I'm a little sleepy.
Just had dinner too at McDonald's because I was craving a Big Mac.
Ooh. We made burgers and tots, and we didn't make the fruit, but we had fruit.
And y'all both almost had the same thing, and then
Yeah.
on the same wavelength. So if you listen to part one of this, you heard that we talked about nepotism, especially in Hollywood, and making it there, nepotism in general. And today we're going to be talking about movies. We all like movies, and celebrity image, how they could impact positively or most of the time negatively movies. So how did you guys come up with this topic?
It came to me in a dream, and I sent out a text message.
And I was like, oh, that's a good topic. Let's do it. Part two.
So where we starting?
I don't know. The world's our oyster.
There's so many celebrity stories and how it affected their image with whatever they were doing at the time. So we can start anywhere.
Byron started off. We already know who you're going to say, so go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
You know what? I was researching this like today, and there's actually so many celebrity controversy stories that I forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first one was Roseanne, all the way back in 2018, being canceled for being racist. And she had her whole ABC sitcom at the time, the revamped Roseanne show, canceled because of her being a racist. And that totally slipped my mind until I read about it earlier today.
I remember watching the original series back in the day.
It was a good show.
Because what did she get in trouble for exactly? I know you said she was being a racist, but like, was it at a comedy show? For the people who don't know,
I believe it was on Twitter. I just had it up. Let me get back to that. Because I know it had something to do with like Obama and one of his aides. So she went online and set off a stream of racist tweets that referred to former President Barack Obama's aide, Valerie Jarrett, as the offspring to the Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes.
And then she stated it was a bad joke.
Yep, it was a bad joke. And then ABC said, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and cancel the Roseanne show. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
Man. That one's tough. Like, because back in like 2014, she tweeted out George Zimmerman's parents' address.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously Zimmerman's known for killing Trayvon Martin. So it was just like Zimmerman's parents said like, oh, Roseanne did that to send a lynch mob to descend on her on his home, and the jury went in favor of Roseanne. So it's like you did that because you're mad about the Trayvon thing, but you just argue like, that's one thing is like, if you're gonna call someone racist, you got to really have some proof.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can understand being stupid because that was very dumb, especially in 2018 of cancer culture really getting to the apex.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But you're right. She effed up her stuff because her new show was a success.
Yeah, a lot of people watch it because they want to see the continuation of her family from the original series.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just decided to be racist. feel bad for like the rest of her cast because they didn't have anything to do with what she did, and like they were out of a job because of her being dumb.
They made a lot less money. I thought they still went on with the show. They just wrote her off.
I feel like I know, remember them writing her off, but I know they eventually canceled it.
I thought they killed her off in the show and then canceled it.
Yeah,
But
I
that
mean,
could be another show that I'm thinking of too.
No, I
no,
think you're right.
I think you're right. And another show that you're thinking, they did the same thing, which is, I mean, at that time, it's kind of tame compared to what we have in 2024. This happened a decade plus. They did that with 2.5 Men and Charlie Sheen.
Mm-hmm.
Because that show, very popular, widely successful. But then he was having his whole breakdown. And for the younger people, just look up Charlie Sheen by winning interview. Um, and then they wrote him off, and then they put Ashton Kutcher. They brought him in, and the show was never the same. It was never as successful as it was when it was Charlie Sheen, and obviously he's recovered from that because it was years later. But that was a moment.
Yeah.
Same thing with Grey's Anatomy and Dr. Preston Burke. Isaiah Washington, the actor, he used a homophobic slur and was bullying the actor who played George. So they wrote him out of the show and just like kind of gave it a natural out. But the whole cast like hated him, and I don't think he's been in anything really since.
Yeah, I haven't heard his name since that whole controversy.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about writing people off shows too because of their personal life stuff. What about was it Michelle? Was Michelle the oldest daughter in Full House? Because she's the one she's gone on her own thing about like very forcibly putting her beliefs on the internet, on like the Hallmark Channel, and what was her name? I think her real name's Candace.
Yes.
Candace Birch?
Yes.
Yes, CJ. Thank DJ. Yeah, Candace Cameron Burr. Yeah, she's the one who had her. Yeah, but she was the oldest in Full House because she had her own stuff where I don't really think it would. I mean, she acted on 2 dozen. Man, where's her thing? Yeah, she was just spouting her beliefs, which that's fine. But then,
well, and it's interesting because like all four of those people, obviously they were talking about really heavy or political or just using slurs that aren't okay. But Constance Wu from Fresh Off the Boat, she almost got canceled because obviously that show was super popular, and then she was in Crazy Rich Asians, which blew up and is such a good movie. But when it came out that the TV show was renewed, she tweeted fucking hell, and then something else about being upset, and then somebody tweeted at her and was like, congrats on your renewal, great news. And she said, no, it's not. Because she felt that like the show had run its course and she was looking for more opportunities. So it wasn't horrible what she said, but a lot of people were just like, you're ungrateful, this show put you on the map type of a thing. So that was interesting because she could have lost her whole career because of that.
I don't understand, like, you being ungrateful for a show that put you on. Like, without Fresh Off the Boat, like, not a lot of people probably would have known who Constance Wu was.
But then what's interesting, and I didn't know this until I just started reading, she says that she was sexually harassed by a producer on that show. And that didn't come out until a few years after she had tweeted those things. So like it kind of changes the tone.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but you just said it.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. It's like buried underneath multiple articles, which It's interesting, but
I mean, who else are other people who you guys come to mind who have their things have affected their movie, work life, anything?
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde? Okay. Why
Mhm.
Olivia Wilde?
So she was dating Harry Styles for some time. And during that time, she was um, producing and directing a movie, Don't Worry, Darling, with a killer cast, including Harry Styles. But Florence Pugh was on it, Chris Pine, Shia LaBeouf was almost in it, Gemma Chan, like a whole slew of really cool people. Um, and she allegedly created a super toxic set. She brought in Harry Styles after originally casting Shia LaBeouf, but that was during his whole controversy. Um, and then it became like this super petty thing on media. And instead of talking about the movie, all the media focused on was Olivia, Harry Styles, and then the beef between those two, Florence Pugh, and then Chris Pine too. And it ruined the movie for so many people.
Kind of remember that controversy between Olivia and Harry Styles. I remember there was like a famous picture of like Chris Pine being like disgusted at think at
Yeah,
an award show because he was sitting like
yeah,
next to Harry Styles or something like that.
because Harry had, and this was all like speculation based on pictures. Harry had allegedly like spat on Chris Pine.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So it was just like a whole circus, and everyone was hyping up the movie because of it. And then it just like it's a good movie, but the drama of it just ruined it, you know?
Mhm.
What were you gonna say, Byron? Like who are you gonna list?
I was gonna list someone's name that we rarely hear from anymore. So Mel Gibson, when he went on his anti-Semitic rant back in, I think it was like 2004, he was out of the limelight from 2005 to 2010. But like when he came back, like his movies weren't doing well for a
Mhm.
while. Like he's been in movies since 2010, but like I can't name one movie that I've seen him in recently.
I'm trying to think if he was the one who made. Ooh, do. Now I'm actually
I
trying
know,
to.
I
He
know he
was in.
got nominated for like directing. I think Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah.
He was not. Yeah, that movie got nominated for one, two, three, four, five, six Oscars.
Yeah, so like that probably was like his best work since he's been back in the limelight. Well, back in like mainstream Hollywood.
Trying to think what movie. Well, they got. Well, since you brought that up, I mean, bringing up one of his best things ever, you got Passion of the Christ Resurrection, Chapter 1. That's coming out in 2025.
Yep, a sequel to the movie that did well, which
Oh
is
yeah,
crazy because it's about Passion of Christ, and then you go on an anti-Semitic rant. It's just wild.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean,
I don't
he's.
think I've seen the first movie.
It's really good. Like
Hmm.
it's critically acclaimed and all of that. But no, that's a good one. I mean, I just think with people. I mean, I'm honestly, I don't even care if you post your political beliefs anymore because you're entitled to
Hmm.
post those. You're also entitled to keep those to yourself.
Mhm.
Like you're entitled for both ways. So because there was times where everyone thought they were doing the right thing, supporting this individual, then you realize this individual lied, and then everyone looked more. If we're doing this politically, more leftist people looked like dumbasses with Jesse Smollett.
Oh yeah.
Everyone looked like an idiot because
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I just got attacked. It was a racism thing." And then everyone's just like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And then you realize that wasn't that. And then everyone looked like a fool.
That was bad.
But, like, why would you lie about something like that? Especially like at the height of like that political climate of like, the police brutality and all that. Why would you lie about that?
And the height of his career.
Right, because he was in oh my god, what was that show with I can't even think of the actors now. Wow. Multiple blanks. With Terrence
Empire.
Howard and
Empire.
Empire, yeah, thank you. Yeah, because that was doing well.
Mm-hmm. And then you did that, and now that's all you're known for. I mean, what acts, I guess, like for you guys, like what acts, if someone did something, you won't go see their movie? Is it a political thing? Is it a discrimination, racism thing? Is it something that goes against your morals thing?
I think it's like a morals thing, and then just like the general, if the drama or whatever the issue is eclipses the movie. I don't necessarily care politically. Like, obviously I have my beliefs and other people are allowed to have theirs, but if it goes against my morals, like, I won't go see it, type of a vibe.
Byron?
Yeah, same for me. I think if it goes against my morals, I probably won't ever support you ever again.
Okay. Well,
Because there's been like a
How about
lot
you?
of people that have done crazy things that I've still seen their movies, like Ezra Miller, like his whole
there.
like that whole saga with them last year, just being a terrible human being, and I still went to go see the Flash movie. Like Flash movie is not as good as it could have been, probably because of the whole drama surrounding Ezra Miller.
You know, it's crazy. All those things that he allegedly did or did, he was not locked away for real jail time.
No,
Like
Which is
he is. They
wild.
are still free.
like Ezra, I mean, like there was no, and that's funny. 1 month ago, Vulture put allegations and mental health a timeline. Like Ezra, I mean, again, he was not put in jail for. If they had the thing with like the kidnapping
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, and they were able to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Like erratic behavior, abuse, grooming allegations, 2020 to the present. Like,
Right. But what's wild is, like, some of that stuff was ongoing before Fantastic Beasts came out.
mhm.
One of the movies of it. But then you look at it, and as soon as allegations and stuff came out about Johnny Depp, they immediately recasted him.
Yeah, they set him up for Jude Law,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Like,
that whole saga is crazy because then
Well,
you
that's
found
another
out.
prime example of everyone assuming too early because someone cried wolf, and then when they got to court, and you're just like, oh, Johnny Depp was wronged. Like,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and then everyone wanted Amber Heard not to do the second Aquaman movie, but they
already finished. Yes, you might as well
finished,
finish.
and they didn't have
Mm-hmm.
time to reshoot her stuff with a new actress. So Amber Heard, I don't know if she'll ever be heard from again after that, but we'll see.
Chelsea, do you feel like Amber Heard set women back 20 years?
First, I got to address Byron. I see what you did there with your pun.
What?
But
That would
That
she
should
hasn't
be
been
ever be
heard from
heard from.
again.
I just realized that.
I don't think we're ever really going to see or hear from her again. Hopefully not. But in terms of setting women back, I think she set back, like, obviously, you should take the victims or a victim's like statements into consideration when they come forward. Like, but you also, I think with cancel culture, it's really hard And it just kind of proved that point of you have to let things play out in a courtroom before you let them play out in a media storm. And like, I'm definitely guilty of believing things on media too.
Absolutely.
But like, that is a key example of waiting until it's all said and done, because at the end of the day, we, the general public, don't have all of that information. Had it, and she was honestly one of the first few with the Me Too movement too, coming out, like especially during the Harvey Weinstein stuff and all of that. So it was very much like empowering for women and victims in general to come out and speak about that. And I think she destroyed a lot of that credibility, which is so disheartening.
Byron, thoughts on the Amber Heard thing? Because I mean, we're not gonna lie. I mean, in our main group message with a lot of people in the L7C, most of the guys, when that stuff was unfolding and it found out that Johnny Depp was wronged and he lost all that fortune, we were all very pissed.
Yeah, like, why are you lying on Johnny Depp? Like, Johnny Depp is a good actor. Like, I understand that you guys are going through like a messy situation. At that point, just divorce. You don't need to drag his name through the mud to make yourself look better.
Well, that's the thing too, of like being the outside looking in. Like, I think it also depends on the type of job you have in your personal life. Because if someone comes in or you see something that's A, B, and C is going on, you might just be like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible." But then, like, if a cop's reading it or a lawyer seeing it on TikTok, and they're just like, "All right, let's just get all the facts first before we make the court of public opinion," because usually the videos with the way that they're describing it in a bodacious way are the ones that always go viral. And then you're just like, is this person even telling the truth? Like, where did this person get their facts from?
Right. And then it makes you want to go do your own research. Like, are they actually telling the truth, or is this just something to get social media views in this?
Oh, that's the one I get caught in all the time, because I'm like, is this story really true? Or did they just make this up to get clicks? Because some stories you're like, there's no way this happened in someone's real life.
Right.
But I mean, and Chelsea's one. Anytime she sends me something, it's just the way 2024 is. That question, I'm like, is this really happened to this person, or is this for clicks? Because I'm looking at that view count and I'm just like,
Right.
I think there was one a long time ago. It was a young lady. It was something about using the bathroom and her boyfriend wouldn't get her the toilet paper or something like that. And Chelsea sent it to me, and I was just like, did this really happen in someone's like real life? Like, really, really happen? And then before that was the whole it had this little 15 minutes of fame. It was the mom hugging the son on the football field. And then people thought that was crazy. Chelsea sent it to me. I was like, well, first people thought it was his girlfriend, and then it was his mom, and then there was all these allegations getting thrown out. And then I was like, all right, let me personally go look myself. And then like the mom had this again, it's 2024. I personally think you don't have to respond to the shit, but everyone's looking for the person's response. And the mom is like, and then the son said, everything's fine. Mom said, everything's fine. Blah, 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 blah. My mom's been with me since day one because her dad. And then I'm just like, I mean, hey, if that's how you want to hug, okay, not really. But the Lex thing, hey, I understand it from a visual thing, but if y'all are fine, that's fine. And then story's over.
Right.
But of course, first glance, everyone's typing, man, so like she has to be like the stepmom or the mother son porno type trope, and then that's what it is now. I mean, shoot, Byron shared something today where it's like people on the internet trying to get a rise saying like, oh, girls are saying it's gay for guys to drink lemonade. If you drink lemonade, they won't date you. Or like stupid shit like that.
I hate those ones. It's just like, let people live their lives, man. Like the one that always will laugh at is the one that always says, like, girl came out like, "Ooh, guys who wear glasses are zesty or whatever," and then the one person retweeted like, "Fellas, is it gay to want to be able to see?"
That's the new thing now, or like the one I saw a couple of days ago. It's that viral video of that one dude crying at his wedding, and then someone said, "Oh, like, I if my husband cried at my wedding, I'd immediately turn away. I don't want to date his soft ass." And then someone say, "Fellas, is it bad to be mad happy at your wedding?"
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
like
it's
you're
bad. It's bad
like
out
you're
there.
yeah, like you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Like women want men to show more emotions, but then when we do, you're like, "Oh, why are you showing emotions?"
And then there was a one two of NBA WNBA player Kelsey Plum who was attractive, and she just got a divorce and had her first game. And people are like, "Oh, if you find this attractive, then you're zesty or gay." And then some Byron is like, "Fellas, is it gay to like women?" Like what? Like what are we doing? So speaking of some morals and stuff, because I need to bring myself to the spotlight. Chelsea, since you said it, do you like home wreckers?
Nope.
Okay.
Here's
Byron, do
looking
you
at Ariana.
Byron, do you like home wreckers?
No, I don't like homewreckers, man.
Is it against both your morals? Is
Mm,
cheating against both your morals?
Would I be the cheater? Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Have I'll admit this. I was accidentally the other woman because I didn't know that the guy had a girlfriend.
We'll get to
Um,
that. We'll put a comma on that, like this is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later in this episode because that's a whole other topic. But
let me
I'll,
let me just say this was in college. So if people are listening and they think I'm a horrible person, I'm not, I promise.
but obviously, because we had to get this out, I just brought that up because you guys don't like cheaters. No one likes being cheated on. No one likes
Mhm.
hearing about home wreckers. But I'm assuming because I know both of you are probably going to go see Wicked.
I just
Yeah.
saw the trailer for that yesterday, and the first
Mm-hmm.
thing I thought of was the Ariana Grande controversy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's all I
like,
was asking.
I really want to see it because I love the musical Wicked, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to end up seeing it.
Hmm.
Not necessarily for Ariana Grande, probably more so for Cynthia Erivo, who plays a Elphaba, which is the Wicked, basically the Wicked Witch. And plus, I like the Wicked musical, so
Yeah. The musical's fantastic. I'm super excited about it. Um, but like we've kind of talked about this offline before, but Ari, obviously with her cheating scandals, um, and they've lingered for years, like Big Sean and Naya I don't know.
Rivera.
Yeah. Um, there was a moment where Naya accused Ari of being the other woman. She obviously has the notorious song "Break Up with Your Boyfriend," um, or girlfriend. You can break up with anyone. And I love that song and I sing along to it all the time. But with SpongeBob and this whole incident, when you involve kids, I think that was like obviously a step too far. Cheating's a step too far, but like involving the kids is a huge issue.
Hmm.
Well, fun facts for people who don't know, since I don't think obviously Ariana Grande, I'm a big fan of her music. Like I used to watch Victoria's all the time, just for if there was parts Cat was gonna sing, especially the first time they let her sing. And I said, and I quote, I was like, this girl is going to be something a lot bigger than what she is compared to everyone on the main cast. And she was. So that was like my first time being like calling out a star before they became an Omega star. So when this first happened, I was just like, okay. And then when the wife of what Chelsea calls him SpongeBob, now ex-wife, and when she was just like, Ariana's the story really, she's not a girl's girl. My family was just collateral damage. I was like, okay, this happened. Like that formed. I was like, yep, this happened. Like, and the fact that they're both in Wicked too. Oh yeah. When you start piecing it together, Like it's just like, yeah, this ain't a good look. This ain't
Yeah.
good, man.
I did not know he was in Wicked.
Yeah.
Yep,
He's
that's how they met.
mm-hmm.
Mm. There's a lot of celebrity stories like that. So, like the one most famous one that I would always think of is Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston getting divorced because it was rumored that he was dating his co-star Angelina Jolie during the time of Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Yep.
which
Now
also
they've
came
been
out to be true.
and now they've been having their on again whatever battle for children that's been going on almost like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy. I thought you were going to go more recent because you want to talk about people who messed up some money. Go no further than Mr. TJ Holmes. The TJ Holmes saga. And I got to, what was that girl's name?
Amy something.
Yep.
What was
And
her name?
Amy Robach.
Yeah, Robot.
That
Yeah.
whole situation was terrible. One of the greatest things watching with no skin in the game because they were co-hosts on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I forgot who had the older kids between the two. The older kids would babysit the other kids, younger kids, when they would
Mm-hmm.
go out on double dates with their partners.
Mm-hmm.
And then so your kids are babysitting the other kids. So these kids are getting close, all that. Like TJ's married to his wife, Amy's married to her husband. And obviously they spend so much time together on things like, all right, it's cool. And then some things started coming out. You hear some interviews, you're like, that's a little creepy. And then the infamous picture in the cabin, 4K, TJ Holmes having his hand on Amy's butt, and you're just like, oh dear. And then they have to get written off television, and then they both get the boot. So now they got to do their own little podcast stuff, but that was bad.
Man, that happened in 2 years ago, 2022.
That was a time. That was a time.
That was a
just
roller
watching that.
coaster ride. Man,
I almost wanted to make that
4K.
4K picture my wallpaper. I'm not gonna lie, because it was so funny.
It really was out in the woods, man. Thought they were alone. No,
Mm-hmm.
Someone
camera's always
caught
watching,
that,
man.
man. Like someone caught him. Someone hired
But
that
that
private investigator. And you know what's
right.
crazy? When TJ got caught, he had the nerve to file for divorce first. That's so wild.
He's a-
They were
Man,
both
I
on
just
ABC News, man. They were household names.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that video coming out. I was like, yeah, there's something going on with them.
They were doing it.
And then they both had the nerve to deny that they were cheating on their ex-spouses. And man, respectfully.
Nasty.
If you at a cabin doing the dirty and you're saying you're not cheating, what are you doing? Playing chess?
Right.
Like what like see, I don't like when celebrities think us common people are stupid.
Right.
Because it's like, oh no, we didn't cheat. We just didn't tell our partners that we were having sex with each other. Bro, what? What?
We didn't cheat. We just didn't tell the other people.
And then the kids have to go through all that. Like, dang, we ain't gonna ever hang out with each other again because you can't have the four of them in the same room no more. Oh no.
Oh my god, that's probably so awkward. If they, yeah. I know that during those double dates, I know they were making eyes at each other, man.
Like, oh yeah, you want to come, baby? Or like TJ and Amy are like, hey, let's go somewhere. It's like, oh yeah, we'll have the kids go babysit. You're using the kids to babysit while y'all cheating on each other's spouses. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's so wild.
Yeah, ABC said, yeah, y'all gotta go. Yeah. Yeah. We can't have this on ABC News. Oh no. Oh no. And that's one of mine. It's like one, you messing with a coworker, and then it got public like that on the news. Oh no.
Mm-hmm. Fumble the bag, man.
Hey, but people do that. People People fumble bags all the time, and we're just sitting here as normal folk. Like, if that was us, we couldn't do it.
Right.
Like, you're telling me I can make $20 million a year, and all I have to do is not cheat on my wife and sleep with my co-host? Okay.
All right. All I gotta do is report the news. All right. Sign me up.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. So, man, that one was terrible. Now, to go backtrack to the other woman thing that Chelsea brought up, and not
Mhm.
just her situation, but just in general situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do people not do background checks no more? Like, is that a lost art?
Well, it might have been. This was what, 2012, and Facebook and Twitter were really the only things.
They
Like,
but they were big things.
yeah, but like, it's sometimes hard when you're meeting new people and it just happens. I didn't do my due diligence, but also, if you're the one in the relationship or a relationship, you should probably like let that be known.
Oh, 100%. Like,
Yes.
oh,
You know?
100%. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm with somebody. Well, then we shouldn't be talking in this. Give them a nice
Correct.
firm handshake and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
But if they hit you with the, if someone hits you with the, I'm in a relationship, I don't want to, and then they hit you with the, I don't care, you're like, oh boy,
Oh
you
yeah.
gotta, you gotta tell
Just
them,
run.
you gotta get out of there.
Just
Yeah.
run. That's a dangerous person when they say, yeah, I don't care.
I don't care if you got a girl, don't care. That's not my problem. I don't care if
Yeah.
you got a, no, you gotta get out of there.
And I also think like nowadays, like fast forwarding to like now time, it's taken a lot differently. Cause I feel like back then and even earlier, it was just kind of like a standard, and like women or men, like whoever was involved, like they just kind of expected it and accepted it and moved on. But now I feel like people are actually like, no, this is actually really horrible. Like, let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, because man, that's just problems. That's just problems you don't want.
Right.
Especially now, I mean, how many times have people potentially fumbled bags because they cheated? A la, I don't know if he's an NBA player, but obviously Tristan Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
But that man is still gainfully employed.
Well, because he's still in the family. Because there was one episode where Chris literally called the NBA to get this man back in.
No, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was one little coach who's like, let me call my contact in the NBA. Because he's
That's
still
crazy.
producing kids with, but then you see some people who were just, once it ended terribly, like a Chris Humphries, then it was over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chris, you haven't heard from Chris Humphrey since though.
Yeah, man. And then some people, I think me and Byron were just talking about him yesterday on the podcast. Some people do so much stuff, should not be allowed another chance. But it just takes one person to give you that chance, and you change the lives of millions of people. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr., before Iron Man, he was just, I mean, honestly, he was a piece of shit. It was just, he was always getting in trouble, all that stuff. And then
Mm-hmm.
Don Favreau took a chance on the man, and billions of dollars later, we're here. So that's another thing, too. Like, people do deserve a second chance. It's just like, if you keep messing up with the same thing, it's like, when does your second chances end?
Yeah, but I think he took his second chance and ran with it because he had a career resurgence.
This was his last. That was his. Iron Man was his last. Like, that was it. If he would have failed that, or would have got in trouble, went to jail again, his career is probably over.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
But,
and then I get on your thing, like not getting many second chances. Like, remember when back in 2012 when Amanda Bynes had her breakdown? Like, you haven't heard from her since then.
Amanda Bynes was supposed to come to GalaxyCon, and then she just canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there's some people who you don't come back from, and then some people do, then come back, and then don't. I mean,
or Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan.
Mm-hmm.
which there's an episode we have about her rise and fall and resurgence. Check it out on the L7C podcast.
Wow. Like even with when she was going through a bulk of her stuff, it was when Georgia Rule was obviously in filming and then about to be released. And had social media been a bigger thing back then, I think that would have discredited the whole movie. And if you watch it now, like it's a solid movie. With an all-star cast. And like looking at where she's at currently, like she has a kid, like she's got a few Netflix deals, like she's just happy and healthy and just like has been stable for a very long time. So I think like she used her chances wisely. It took a long time, but she eventually got there.
Just like Shia LaBeouf made his way back. I mean, he was on top of the freaking world when Transformers and Even Stevens and Holes and all that. Then he had his mishaps, and then at his interview, he got himself together, got himself right, and then he's back in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be done. It's just, but nowadays, man, you sneeze wrong and people want to cancel you.
Yeah, I think it was easier back in the day to get like a second chance without the type of what social media is now. Because, like you said, if you sneeze wrong or look at someone's wrong, you're probably going to get canceled.
Oh, for sure.
Another person, me and Byron were talking to on a podcast that will be coming out in a couple days. But if I'm Feige, I would have gave Jonathan Majors another chance. Like once it all settled, because obviously people heard the trigger words like, "Oh, he's accused of assault and domestic violence," and a lot of people just instantly thought the worst of the worst. He should go to prison, blah blah blah. And then when it all comes out, and you actually see the video, and then he gets he got misdemeanors, and then all that, and I'm just like, and then he got fired before the trial was even over. It's just like, again, you don't want to have, because people are like, I can't believe this domestic abuser is on a Marvel movie when it wasn't even. That was not what he was charged with. That was not what happened. And
yeah, and then Marvel had to protect their image because of, like I said, the height of social media. So I think they could have kept him on. Like, I don't even think he had jail time. I think he probably did like hours of community service. Like, it wouldn't have affected like their filming schedule probably at all.
No, he gets to frolic in beaches with Megan freaking Good. What a great life. What a great life. But I think that's also one of those things too, where I think it's that's why I get really, like, I look at the social media world funny, because obviously, and just doing the devil's advocate, because it's usually more left leaning type, like more who like really on the like part of the cancel culture thing. That's what the right says. But then when something happens like that in the media with the stars, they want them instantly canceled, things of that nature. But then in my world, the world that I actually work in, they're like, oh, you should give these people X third amount chances. But I'm like, you can't have it both ways. If you want to cancel someone because of a one-time thing, but you want to give these people in the justice system X amount of chances, how's that different?
It shouldn't be, but it is. It's just
so that's what I've always just been confused about, because I'm just like, all right, you want this person canceled? They did this, fine. But then it's like, someone goes to jail, they can't get a job, and then they're like, oh, we should give those people more chances. They made a mistake. But that person made a mistake on a tweet. That person didn't hurt anyone on the tweet, maybe hurt some people's feelings. And hey, I'm all for, if you get your feelings hurt, let people know. But this person actually was hurting people, and you want to give that person a second chance, but you're mad at a tweet.
Right.
Or a commencement speech like with Harrison Bucker.
Oh, we're going real time? Real.
I mean, might as well
talk about this on the podcast. Well,
Whoa.
let me just set the record straight too. One, he ain't getting kicked off the team. He ain't getting canceled. He's going to play in
About 3 months.
3 months, 100 some days. So let's just get that shit out the way before anyone. Chelsea, did you even know this thing happened, or did the Swifty algorithm get it to you?
The Swifty algorithm got it for me. I didn't even know who he was until the Swifty thing happened. And then I looked at his Instagram, obviously. And what's funny, and I've got nothing wrong if you believe in God, don't believe in God, whatever your case is. It just made me laugh that every single picture, he's in a really nice suit that probably cost $3,500. He's always by a jet. And then he's bringing God into the conversation. It was just kind of funny. Not funny, haha, but funny.
The bad thing is, Chelsea, you would not have known about that if he did not play on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only reason the Swifties care about the shit is because he plays on the Chiefs, and obviously Taylor is dating Travis Kelce. They would never have saw that video because people are like, oh my gosh, this person plays on the Chiefs. They're like, oh, Taylor's team, and then here we are.
Yeah. I think if he said it and played for another team, we still might have heard about it from Allison Cooch or a few other people. Just because I follow some of the wives on TikTok and Insta, and they're great. But we definitely found out about it obviously faster because of the Swifty Nation.
Oh yeah, because people looked. He's like, "Who's it?" He's like, "Oh, the Chiefs." Oh, hey,
Well,
we
and
supporting this? Oh no!
by name, even if he wasn't on the Chiefs, he still quoted her. The Swifties and myself are going to take issue with that.
Oh, I didn't know he quoted her. What? Which quote was it?
Hold on, let me pull it up. He quoted one of her song lyrics, and
I hope it's not the Grand Theft Auto line because that's very inappropriate.
What's his name?
Harrison Buckner.
Yeah, Harrison Bucker.
He was on one of my fantasy teams a couple years ago. He made a lot of points. I think he was on my team. He's a really good kicker.
Yeah, if I don't get Justin Tucker, Harrison Bucker's my backup.
He said, boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, he quoted Taylor Swift's Bejeweled. He said, this undue Jesus, words are hard. Familiarity will prove to be problematic every time because, as my teammate's girlfriend says, familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah. Taylor's not wrong. And it's a great song, but the way he used it is gross. Because obviously he's talking about being a homebody and just being a wife and taking away from the people, the women's accomplishment. But what's also interesting is I think he has a business or not a business, but a charity or something that gives money to that school actively. And Sketch Magetch.
Yeah, I think what he said was not cool. There's just some things you don't say, and bashing women is just a big no-no. Like you said, he's not going to get canceled. He'll still play for the Chiefs and all that good fun stuff.
I
mean, it'll hurt any brand deals that he had.
Actually, Chelsea, it's actually doing the complete opposite. I didn't share this with you because I should have assumed you knew. But he currently has the most popular jersey being sold on NFL Shop right now.
That's disgusting.
So on my thing, one of those things, it's the silent minority against the vocal majority.
Right. And this goes back to a few conversations that we've had. It's all the dads, Brads, and the Chads. who are trying to reclaim the NFL.
Mhm.
Like when
Trying to reach Jesus Christ.
well, because they had
Right. I don't think it was ever gone, but
I mean, every single generic, I'm a man and I watch NFL. It's my sport. Women don't belong here. Like they would get pissed off all the time at Taylor for being there and then for getting girls to be interested. And now that you have somebody from the team that Travis Kelce is obviously on saying that women belong at home, like, of course, those people are going to flock to that message and buy his jersey. It's just gross.
like, oh my gosh. Byron, what did you think of this speech? Like when I first shared it? Because I never thought in my wildest dreams. That's actually funny I said that. But I never thought I'd be sitting here in the middle of May talking about Harrison fucking Buckner.
I didn't think about it either. Like after the NFL season, like you only hear from like the big names like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and all those other type of stars because of like trades and all that. You didn't really hear about the kickers doing anything, and then because he wanted Taylor Swift and because he's on the Chiefs, playing with Travis Kelce, it's bigger than probably what he thought it would be. He'd just probably making a speech like, here's what me and my wife's relationship is, and she's happy to be at home and be a mom, and that's all well and good, but like not all women want to be at home. They want to be doctors and president and all that fun thing. So you can't say, oh, because my wife wants to stay at home, all women should want to stay at home. That's not cool.
Right.
So that's my biggest thing with like these type of like the rhetoric he was saying. I didn't get mad. I was just listening. Because me, if I'm a PR person, if someone hires me to be a PR person, obviously you're a success. You make more money, which means I make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do stuff like that, I'm like, you're kind of affecting my bag now. Let's
Right.
let's reel it in. And again, we've said it before, you're entitled to feel the way you feel. That is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people in that commencement thing who were probably more than likely they were mad. But there's some people who were there who were quiet and completely agreed with everything he effing said. And there's some people who were there who agreed with half of the stuff and not half of the stuff. Again, it's your right. I think my biggest problem is that you do have the right because you're allowed to say what you want, but just because you think in his situation women should do a certain thing doesn't mean that you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. Like if someone went in, because there have been the people who are mad at Harrison, there have been a lot of women who have told women like, hey, F having a family, you go do you, sis. You don't need like a family or whatnot. You don't need to have kids, and that's overrated. And it's like, but some women want to have kids, and some women want to have families. And so you're bashing on them. So then that's when sometimes I agree with like the minority part of that because like, hey, if you want to be a mom, that's fine. If you want to be a career woman, that's fine too. Normal Americans are typically both, and you can do both if you got the support system. I mean, my mom worked all her life. Your mom worked all her life. Your mom worked all her life.
She did.
We're all still here and we're all still alive. So obviously they balanced it. So you should be allowed to do what you want to do and not be from the woman's side. You should be allowed to be a career person or a mom if you want to be a housewife or both and not be persecuted by the masses. I think that's really what the simple thing.
Agreed.
But I don't know why it's become, I don't know, it's become such a hot thing. Obviously, it's just like, oh, and then telling them at the graduation again. If I'm the PR, I was like, bro, out of all the things, bro, like that's terrible. That is bad timing. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, and then again, these graduation speeches, you're allowed to say whatever the hell you want to say, but
But like you would think they'd have to, and to be fair, the school, what is it, a Benedictine college?
Yeah.
But like you would think that the school would want to hear the speech beforehand, you know, just for like people, just to cover the bases or have like a synopsis of what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. He said some things and they're not great. So
Not great. And people coming out saying their thing. The NFL coming out saying we don't condone the things he said, blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, it's just effing lip service. Like we know we know you guys don't care. So
yeah. The NFL does not care. It's had definitely some characters in the NFL the last 10 years.
As long as it doesn't affect the bottom line, they don't care. That's how every corporation is.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Rice was about to play get suspended with 2 games, and he was about to play until it took the video of him whooping his girl's ass in the elevator for him to get kicked out. If there's no video, he'd still be playing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he's had his redemption stuff and all that. But just the world we're in right now, man. Look what happened. Great. And then people have been comparing this just like, and then I've seen some, certain side of people is like, oh, people have a problem with this free speech and all that doing this stuff, but they have a problem with Harrison talking, but they didn't have a problem with Colin Kaepernick or vice versa. And I'm like, all right, okay. All right. We don't need to get into this tit for tat.
I feel like Colin Kaepernick's name will always be brought up when like this type of stuff happens in the
NFL. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. He took a knee. The world went in uproar. Donald Trump used that for his presidency. We don't have no sons of bitches kneeling and all that stuff for the thing. And then, signature shirt gets made. We kneel for our fallen brothers. We stand for the flag. Even though, again, he got the idea from a military person. And no one gets mad at that military person for giving him the idea. But every time now, it's just like, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The culture is crazy. The culture is in a very influx place. Because it's like you don't know what to be mad at anymore. You don't know what to be happy about. You're afraid if you're happy about something, you're going to get canceled. If you're mad about something, you're going to get canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea, what do you do? You're the expert in the pop culture. What do you do?
You just kind of hope for the best and adapt and change as needed. But I also think that
was sound advice.
Thank you. As consumers, like we need to, and this is like not just like celebrity consumers, but like in general, be aware of what's going on, and know that like obviously things might not always be able to change, but just be aware of what like that business or that movie or that celeb is doing in the background.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, when that first came out, when I sent it to Byron and the guys, I was like, because I watched it and I was like, oof. Because it didn't come to me because of the Swiftie algorithm. It came because of NFL reporting. I was like, oh boy, the Swifties ain't gonna like this one. That was my first thing. I was like, they ain't gonna like this. This is, oh dear.
Then hours later, Swifties started petitioning to get Harrison Butker kicked off the team. Or no, kicked out of the NFL.
And I was like, yeah, that ain't
they
happening.
did Colin Kaepernick. I'm like, oh, come on, dudes.
And there was like, that's the first thing I was like, then they start doing their research. They're like, apparently this guy liked guy in 1942. I was like, wasn't even alive in 1942. I'm like, where are you getting this information from? But there was one thing where I just sat there as, like Chelsea said, a consumer. I was like, for people who don't know, his mom is like a doctor. Yeah. So it's like,
hey, yo.
Yeah, like, let me pull up the exact, because she actually has like a pretty like esteemed title. So then, people were like, obviously, how do you say those things? But if this was like the multiverse, you were talking to your mom.
Right.
I don't know his mom was a doctor. That
Let me pull the
makes this
exact
story
type.
is that's
She's
just
a site
wild.
accomplice. What the hell does she do? Um, she works in the radiation department. Kelly Buckner has worked in the radiation oncology department at Emory University School of Medicine in Atlanta since 1988, according to her LinkedIn. So, I mean, she's big time. But brother, you're saying that stuff? She specializes in 2 forms of radiation, brachytherapy, and gamma knife medical physics care. That's his mom.
Right.
Obviously, she didn't stay at home the whole time to get that.
Right.
She obtained her master's degree in medical physics from Georgia Institute of Technology in 1988, got her bachelor's degree in chemistry from Smith College in Northampton, Mass in 1985. And then yeah, man. So she was doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And then, yeah, again, you were literally done. If you went back in time, you're literally just talking. You're telling your mom not to do what she did, and if she didn't do what she did, you wouldn't have the life that you had.
Right. That's just a
Right.
slap in his mom's face at this point.
But I would venture to get that the majority are most excited about your marriage, and children you bring to this world. I mean, I did have a professor one time my sophomore year. He told the girls in my class, he's like, some of y'all are only in college just to find your future husband. And the bad thing is, not going to name names, obviously, we know someone who was mad that they were not married by the end of college. There was actually a lot of these.
Yeah.
We knew a lot.
So I'm not saying all women do that, but there's that small minorities like, I'm gonna find my husband here and I'm gonna die trying.
Mm-hmm.
But then to those, like, why are you spending that amount of money just to find a husband?
I mean, shoot. I mean, now Byron, people spend that money
On
when they pay
dating.
for the premier dating
That's
apps
true.
and going on dates just to pay all that and then never get a second date.
Crazy world we live in.
No, because yeah, it is, man. But anything else, guys? Any other people you wanted to hit on before we sign off?
No.
Oh yeah, I think we covered all the people I wanted to talk about.
Chelsea, I could have only imagined if Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all that were alive in 07 during the Spears meltdown. That would have, I think that would have broken every record in history if that on social media, if they were around back then. Oh my God.
Right, because everyone be tweeting about her story, then you had those group of people who are gonna make memes about it.
Her story was they did breaking news on CNN for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine what Twitter would have, oh my God. Would have been crazy. Oh, since we didn't bring him up last time before we do, there is sometimes where you can just think you're the hot shit and then it backfires and you have to go on an apology tour. I'll allow Dwayne the Ad Johnson, as people call him now, because he's a walking advertisement. Obviously, he wanted to run things at DC. It did not work out. And then he had his feud with Vin Diesel before and said he was never coming back to Fast and Furious. And then what do we know after Black Adam did not reach his expectations he wanted? He comes back crying back to Vin Diesel, is back in the Fast family, comes back to WWE to get his image back, and and then he almost fucked that up, and then he did fuck that up until Triple H saved the universe, and then here we are. Sometimes it's just better for these celebrities to just actually listen to common sense.
I don't think he does. I think he just says like,
no, he
"Ooh,
does
this is
whatever he
something
wants.
I want to do, so I'm gonna do it." And then if it fails, do the next thing. Like there's a thing, UFL or XFL, one of them. Like you revive that, we'll see how that goes. Because like anytime anyone has revived the XFL, it has not done well. So we'll see if he can revive it and keep it going.
All right. That being said, part 2 of the Captain and the Pop Culture Expert concludes. It was great having you two do episodes, just the two of you, because you guys have never done that before. And hopefully down the road, we have more of this collaboration. I feel like this is a great thing going.
Yeah, I definitely would hop on another episode with Chelsea.
Always.
Yeah. And with that being said, L7C podcast, women do what you want to do. And Harrison Buckner, good luck to you, man. You know, the Swifties are going to bring pitchforks to your house once they find your address, because they will. L7C signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.